Hi, I'm Nicole Baltes of Connected in Motion, and today I'm bringing you a bridge tutorial. Now this will also be a bit of a workout for your glutes and hamstrings. So we're gonna keep moving while I talk about different components of the bridge so that you have your proper alignment and you have different focuses on how to connect each part of your body to make the bridge as effective and safe as possible. After we go through a bunch of different bridge variations and techniques, we will continue moving onto some side hip work that works the side of the glute muscles as well as those rotation muscles in your hips. All right, so we're gonna lay on our backs, feet flat on the mat, knees about hip bone width apart, and we're gonna bring our hands to the lower abdomen, very, very close to your pubic bone. So the first thing I find important in a bridge is to be able to focus on moving your pelvis without moving your rib cage. So we're gonna just start with our subtle pelvic tilts, taking a breath in, and I always like to exhale and feel like your low abdomen is kind of sinking down and your pelvis is going to go into this posterior tilt where the hip bones get closer to your ribs. And then we come back to the neutral pelvis. Again, hip bones come closer to the ribs. So imagery-wise, you want to imagine a marble on the pubic bone that you're rolling into your belly button. And then that marble comes back to the pubic bone. And then again, you roll that imaginary marble into your belly button and then roll it forward toward the legs. Just 2 more pelvic tilts. And allowing the stomach to just soften. So not a lot of exertion here. We're gonna come to the pelvic tilt. So you'll feel the lower back a little bit lengthened into the mat. And then from here, I want you to bring one of your hands to the lower part of the rib cage. So feel those bones there. Now from here, keeping this part of the rib cage down and just see if you can lift your pelvis and the lower back up off the mat. So I like to call this a mini bridge. I'm gonna reach my arm up so you can see. So the rib cage is down, meaning it's not pushed up to the ceiling. And my back is pretty lengthened. My glutes are working to pick the pelvis up. And then on your way down, you want to think about melting your chest down, then those lower part of the ribs, then the low back, and then the entire pelvis. Let's do it again. So we're going to bring the pelvis into the tilt. Let's keep that hand here. Feel like the ribs stay down as you lift the pelvis up, and then you roll back down. So we're trying to find articulation through the spine rather than just lift up in one big chunk. Curl that tailbone under, lift the pelvis, hold here, roll the lower back and the pelvis back down. Okay, keep going. You can take your hand away from the ribs. Let's go into that pelvic tilt, lift up. Now we're gonna try to go a little higher. Remember, the height comes from, or the movement comes from your pelvis produced by those glutes. Lift up a little higher while keeping this sensation that you have kind of an anchor or a weight right down on the ribs. And then roll back down and let the glutes release. We're gonna curl under, 5 more bridges. You lift the pelvis, feel that weight down here, arms actively into the mat, roll back down. Keep moving through your bridges. Let's bring our attention to our feet. So as you roll up, you want to push your feet down into the floor and make sure that there is equal weight on the insides and outsides of your feet. Roll back down. I highly suggest bringing a ball or a yoga block in between your knees. And if you're at home and you don't have either of those things, you can put a thicker pillow in between your knees so that we make sure as we go up into the bridge that our knees stay in line with the hips and they don't veer off their tracks, which is the tendency for them to open up. So you want to engage those inner thighs, feel your feet, specifically the balls of the big toes. Let's do 2 more bridges. Roll the pelvis, so rolling that imaginary marble into your belly button. Lift the hips up, the lower back lifts, a little bit of the mid back lifts. And let's hold here for a moment, keeping those glutes engaged, reaching your hip bones up and those knees reaching forward. All right, we're gonna breathe in through the nose and a nice deep exhale as we cinch through the waistline. So connecting and interlocking the 2 sides of the abdominals. Inhale and exhale. Making sure that your chest is just softened and relaxed. Your neck muscles are relaxed as well. A couple more breaths here. You should really be feeling your glutes and your hamstrings here. Let's take another inhale. And as we exhale, sink down from the chest, then those lower ribs, then the low back, and then allow the glutes to relax as your sacrum and tailbone touch the mat. We're gonna move on to a single leg version. We're gonna take one step before we lift the entire leg off. So we're gonna rock the pelvis under, articulate up, hold here. So I want your arms to be active, palms pressing, triceps pressing, back of the shoulders pressing. We will start with just lifting one heel up. So there's still a little bit of weight on the toes and lower, but not a lot. Other heel lifts and it lowers. So this is a great stepping stone to your single leg lifts or your single leg bridge or marches. One heel lifts, and the focus is keeping the hips level. So making sure the hips are not dropping from side to side, that they're even from side to side. Let's do one more. Lower the heel, roll the spine down. By now you should be feeling some good work happening here. We're gonna take just a quick little stretch of those hamstrings, extend the legs up, maybe flex and point the ankles. Now, if you want to move on to the next step, we're going to actually lift the entire leg off the mat, so that makes it a little bit harder to stay stable in the pelvis. Otherwise, repeat the heel lift. So we articulate the spine up. Remember that connection down, front of the ribs are kind of pressing down to the back of the ribs, and your tailbone is, I think of it kind of like as a hook reaching under and up. Then we take the entire leg up to tabletop and lower down. Other leg. So just like the heel lift version, your focus should be on keeping a stable, level pelvis. So just bring your attention to the hip bones. And we're gonna do one more set. Keep curling that tailbone under so the lower back doesn't get too much of an arch there. And then roll the spine down. Again, let's just hold behind the thighs, take an extension of those knees to stretch open those hamstrings, flex and point the feet a couple times. All right, third variation, so taking it up the next level, stick with either of those two levels if you like, or two variations. We come up into the bridge. Now let's hold here and kind of scan through the body. Neck is long and relaxed. Arms are active. The chest is soft. Those ribs in the front of the body are down. And our back is lengthened, right? So we're looking for neutral alignment in the spine versus extension in the spine. So that's where our abdominal muscles help to pull this in and support the back. Now we're gonna take the one leg all the way up. Make sure that that hip didn't drop, so push. We're gonna flex and lower this leg just the height of the other thigh and point go up. Let's just do this 4 times. 2 more, arms pressing. 1 more, bend the knee, place the foot into the mat. Now reassess, maybe curl that tailbone under a little bit more, reinforce that bridge. Let's extend the other leg up. 4 times, flex lower, point, lift up, nice and controlled. Monitoring any movement of the pelvis. 1 more. Lower that foot. Take a breath in. Roll down. Bone by bone. Let's take a hold of the thighs. Another little stretch of those hamstrings. Flex and point. And bring it in. Okay, great job. So let's turn onto our side. All right, I like to be propped up into my hand here. You can always lay the head flat. We're gonna lift up and come into like a 90-degree angle from hip to knee, knee to foot. Focus here, pelvic stability. Now, what I want you to do is feel like you're lifting that bottom waistline just the tiniest bit up, so I could slide a piece of paper under there. We're gonna lengthen this top hip that away from the ribs, so we're not hanging out and chilling. You're actively lengthening that top side to lift the bottom waistline. We're gonna bring the hand to the, what I call just like the lower part of the hip. So right down here, not up here at the waist, but down where the leg meets the pelvis. We go into our clam. So do not let this top butt cheek move back. So we open our clam, hold here. Now remember, if you suddenly shift that top hip back, you lose that rotation and you're not gonna feel a whole lot. So we open our clam, you keep this hip stacked, maybe look at it, and then lower. Open the clam, find that moment, and see if you can go just a little further without letting the pelvis move, and close. And open the clam, hold, and close. And again, we're still lengthening this way so that top waistline is long. We're active in these obliques down through here. And let's do 5 more clams and close. You can always add a band around the knees to make this a little bit more challenging. Let's do 4 more. Check out that hip, make sure it's still stacked. 3, I'm still pulling my abdominal muscles in. 2, and we're gonna open it up and hold it there. Now tiny little pulses. Remember, the pulse is happening inside the hip joint, not around the whole thing here. Tiny little pulses, back, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Hold it for 5. Keep pressing and squeezing it back. 4. Keep lengthening it away. 3, 2, 1. Lower. We're gonna keep the knees together and internally rotate. The top of the thigh is where it's coming from, although you'll see the lower leg move. And close. Top of the thigh internally rotates. Now remember, we're not moving the pelvis, so we're not gonna go like this and then let the whole thing spill forward. So keeping the hips stacked, keeping the ribs stacked, keeping the shoulders stacked. All right, we're gonna take 7 more. And 5. Remember, this is not a time for the abdominal muscles to take a nap. They're active. Let's do 3 more. 2, and 1. Hold it. Check out that top hip. Make sure it is still on top of the bottom hip. Little pulses. 10, 9, 8. Now remember, even though the lower leg is what seems like it's most obviously moving, it's coming from here. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, 1, lower. Combining external and internal rotation. We lift both feet up. Now again, both feet lift up, but we don't roll forward. Alrighty, check yourself out. We open the top leg into our clam. The hip is stacked. From here, you straighten the knee right where it is. You bend the knee, you connect the feet, close your clam. And open the clam, hip stays stacked, extend, reconnect, close. Go slow so you can really control this and make it very precise, making sure you're really effectively working those side glute muscles and all these little tiny rotation muscles kind of under and around the bum. And lower. 3 more. Open, extend the knee, bend, and connect. 2 more. Open. Remember, when you extend the knee, we're gonna try to keep the knee right here. Extend, bend, or you can go a little higher, but the key is not to go like this and then lower it. Keep it reaching up. Now hold it, circle. 5, 4, stillness through the pelvis. 3, 2, 1. Now we're gonna reverse it. Straight, strong leg. 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, bend that knee, lower. All right. Give that hip some love, maybe tenderize that meat a little bit, and we will go to the other side. Okay, setting ourselves up. Top hip lengthens away, so this takes some effort here. Reaching this hip away from the waist, a little lift of here. We're gonna hold the hip for a moment, or hold the pelvis. We open to our clam. Now don't just open and stop, open and see if you can go just the tiniest bit more. Feel that engagement right under the bum. Close your clam. Every now and then take a little peek at the top hip. Check to see if it's still stacked, because you know, some people, sometimes it's hard to tell if you're not looking at it. And eventually, you know, part of the Pilates method is strengthening your mind-body connection and your awareness so you know where your body is in space and you can feel those things. But as you work on that, you can always take little peeks and look at yourself, check in. Let's do 5 more and close. Remember, right, I'm not here. This is no big deal, right? I'm not chilling. Active, reaching away. There's a little light under the side. See the light? Let's do 2 more. Probably not counting very well right now. 1 more, we're gonna open it up, hold. Now see if you can go just a little more open, and it's gonna be more internal, an internal feeling, not a giant, you know, obvious movement. Little tiny pulses, stillness through the pelvis. 2, abs are active. 4, 5, there's still that air, so if I lift my shirt up, you can see that light. And let's do 3 more. 2, we're gonna hold it, keep squeezing it back. 5, keep lengthening the hip, down. 4, 3, keep reaching the knee out. 2, 1, lower. Now our pelvis still does not move. There's internal rotation from the top of the thigh and the lower leg reacts and you lower. And again, this is the driver right here and the passenger is the lower leg. So the passenger is just going along with that driver. And let's do 7 more. Take a little peek at your hip. 6, or at your pelvis. 5, 4, and I'm even pressing down with this arm here. Again, so I'm not just relaxed, I'm pressing down. Let's do 3 more. And 2, I'm not letting my abdominals just relax and spill out, and pulling them in, and hold it. Little pulses. 10, focus on this rotation, top of the thigh. 7, 6, 5, it's tiny. 3, 2, 1, lower. Now we combine them. So we lift both feet up without rocking the pelvis forward or the ribs forward. So everything is still stacked. Shoulders, ribs, pelvis. You open up to your clam. How far can you open up? Keep this top hip stacked. So this hip bone is kind of reaching forward as the knee is going back. Then keep the knee here, straighten it, bend, connect the feet, close your knee, and you're still elongating this top hip away from the rib. Open, see how far you can open. Extend the knee, bend the knee, close the knee. And let's open it up. 3. Now remember, we can go higher and bend, or just keep the knee where it is, but don't go lower. You want to work that length, work those muscles to keep the leg up. We do 4 more. Open up, extend, connect those heels, close. 3 more. Open, extend, bend. Still pressing down to this bottom side of my body. 2 more. Open, extend. It's burning. 1 more and we hold it and we do our little grand finale circles. We're going to circle 5. Slow and controlled. 4, so nothing is wobbly. 3, pulling in here. 2, 1, reverse. 5, the leg might be feeling heavy. Fight through it, try to make those big circles. 3, 2, and 1. Control out of it. Feet, knees, and legs. Give that side of the hip some love. And I almost always like to end with the figure 4 stretch. So we're gonna roll over onto our back. If you have tight hips, then prop your head up on a pillow so that your shoulders don't get scrunchy trying to reach the legs. Let's cross one ankle over the other thigh. Now, if you're really tight, this might be plenty of a stretch. Otherwise, you're gonna lift your feet up, wrap your hands around the bottom leg, making sure the shoulders are relaxed. And as your legs are coming back towards your shoulders, I want you to keep reaching your sits bones forward. So there's still elongation through the spine rather than just tucking and collapsing everything. So we're lengthening from tailbone to head, taking a few breaths. I always like to give the option of straightening this bottom leg for a little extra hamstring stretch. And let's switch. Crossing the ankle, giving a gentle hug, shoulders rolled and relaxed back. Spine elongating that way, so your tailbone lengthening that way, crown of the head reaching back, so being really intentional about that length of the spine. All right, I hope you enjoyed that, and I just want you to keep working on that technique for your bridge so that you know you are really connected from head to toe and that you're getting the most out of the bridge and being in a healthy position for your backs and really working the glutes and the hamstrings like the bridge is intended to work. And in those side exercise, those side glute exercises, just keep making sure you're stable through your pelvis and having that, building that awareness so that we're focusing on moving part of the body but keeping everything else strong and stable around it. All right, have a great day and let me know if you have any questions or any requests for any exercises or workouts.